Round 7 of the 2019 Formula 1 season takes us to North America for the Canadian Grand Prix in Montreal. Now, for any non-Mercedes fans out there, looks like it's going to be another Mercedes dominant weekend. Okay, the Monaco Grand Prix last time out saw the consecutive 1-2 finishes end. Sebastian Vettel taking second place in that particular Grand Prix. But even though that Mercedes still boast a 100% win record so far this season. So will this 100% record end? Will somebody else take the checker flag in Montreal? Unless we see something unbelievable, I can't say Mercedes losing out this weekend. But before I jump into any predictions and we go further forward into this preview, let's take a look at the driver standings. So Lewis Hamilton tops the table with 137 points, 70 points advantage over his teammate Valtteri Bottas. Sebastian Vettel comes up in third place. Max Verstappen, the first of the Red Bulls, in fourth. Charles Leclerc, the young Monegasque driver, in fifth place. Pierre Gasly rounds up the top six in P6, obviously. Carlos Sainz, seventh place for the McLaren, doing a superb job. Kevin Magnussen in eighth. Sergio Perez in 9th, and Kimi Raikkonen rounding off the top 10. Take a look at the bottom half of the table now. We can say Lando Norris is in 11th place, Rodrigo Kvyat in 12th, Daniel Ricciardo having a very disappointing season so far in 13th place, Alexander Albon showing some impressive speed in 14th, and Daniel Ricciardo's teammate in Nico Hulkenberg in P15. Lance Stroll in P16, Roman Grosjean having a very disappointing season so far in P17, Antonio Giovinazzi, George Russell and Robert Kubica round off the bottom three, who have all scored no points this season. So that's how the standings look heading into this weekend. So let's start with my predictions. Now, before I start, let me know your predictions in the comment section below. Your top 3, top 5, top 10 if you want to go full shebang, top 20. The prize for getting all the top 20 right is a pat on the back, because that's all we can afford, unfortunately. So my top 3 now. For me, it literally is just randomly picking a P3 driver, because, quite frankly, Mercedes are just going to blitz this weekend. As like I said, unless something like amazing happens, or well, amazing for non-Mercedes fans, you know what I mean? Like if you're a Mercedes fan and you see something bad happen to your team, then of course it's not going to be a good weekend. But as like I said, unless something catastrophic happens to the Mercedes, no one's going to beat them in my opinion. So P3, I'm going to have a punt, and I'm going to say Charles Leclerc. Now, Charles Leclerc had a very disappointing weekend in Monaco, didn't he? Qualifying didn't go well for him. Race, you know, clipped the barrier at Rascas, and that was race over. Had a puncture, damaged his floor. You know, it's all been said. You already know this by now. So he needs a redemption kind of weekend, because the media's been on his case quite a bit. And we covered this just briefly in the debate show, in last week's F1 debate show, when we were just basically saying how like Ferrari are screwing over Leclerc's season so far. There's been since that episode was released, there was reports that Leclerc wants to move away from Ferrari, which I would heavily dismiss. And personally, even though it's only 6 races in, I think they're all rubbish in my opinion. Just general chit chat rubbish. Something to get a story out. Leclerc does not want to leave Ferrari. He's still a very, very young driver. He's got a lot to give in Formula 1. Ferrari have still got a lot to give themselves. It's just a bad patch. It's just a bad patch at the moment for Ferrari. It all come good in the end. Just you wait and see. I think Leclerc will have a very good, I'd say an average weekend, but I think some luck might play into it where Leclerc will show some really good speed, because we haven't seen that raw speed since Bahrain. And I think we need that to kind of shut all these critics up and everything, and Leclerc to be back where he was being praised a lot, now just being criticised all the time. Well, not all the time, but by the majority of people. I know some of you guys watching, you might be big fans of Leclerc. I'm a big fan of Leclerc, and I think he still is the answer for Ferrari's future without a shadow of a doubt. And I think that he needs a good weekend to kind of put himself back in line, you know, with that kind of potential. It's still got good potential, but not everyone seems to agree. When he was at Sauber, everyone was on the Charles Leclerc bandwagon. Now, I think half the people have just literally just went, nah, I'm refunding my ticket on this bandwagon, I'm getting off at the next stop. So hopefully Charles Leclerc can reignite his season and come up in 3rd place. Anything higher than 3rd place would be absolutely amazing. Chances are he might finish in P5, because I think he's finished in P5 in like 4 of the 6 races so far. And he's going to be 5th in the championship as well. So let's see how that goes. So Charles Leclerc for me in P3. P2, Valtteri Bottas. Valtteri Bottas having a 3rd place position last race in Monaco. You know, he did screw himself over with holding everybody up. He did lose a place to Vettel. To Verstappen, sorry, and then he kind of like regained that position when he had when Max Verstappen had that penalty. Which is in P4, and obviously then you got P3. So Bottas will certainly want to reignite podium positions, challenging for the race win. Has he got the speed to do it? Absolutely. Apparently, now this is just a rumour, guys. Apparently, Mercedes are bringing upgrades to the Canadian Grand Prix, and the car is set to run at over 1,000 horsepower, 1,062 horsepower to be precise. I'm led to believe, but I don't know how true them reports are, so don't quote me on that. But if they are true, God Almighty, it's going to be a good. I hope it's going to be a close battle between the two Mercedes drivers, because I want to see some sort of battling, even if it's just like just the Mercedes drivers. I just want to see Bottas and Hamilton have a good fight to the end of the race, which is something Niki Lauda would love to see. Which of course we are still quite raw. We're still quite raw of the news that we got a couple of weeks ago. So I want to see that. Can Bottas go for the race win? Absolutely. But for me personally, the race win is going to go to Lewis Hamilton. I think in the last debate show, or even the review, I believe, I said that he won the Grand Prix 7 times. He's actually won it 6 times. Michael Schumacher holds the record of 7 times. So if Lewis Hamilton wins this weekend, then of course he is going to equal Michael Schumacher's record at Canada. He took his first win here back in 2007. He's won a further 5 times since then. Hamilton is so quick around this circuit. Like, so is Bottas. Bottas, if you remember, Bottas got... Did he start P3 in 2013 with Williams, when Williams had a really bad car? I know they got a bad car this year, but back then, that was when Williams were like even worse than 2012. In 2012, they had a really good car. So 2013 was abysmal. Bottas' first year, that was his 7th race as well. So Bottas has a good, again, is quite strong around here. So again, another put on Bottas. I think he might do well. And so yes, I think Hamilton for me, outright winner, pole position, race win, you name it. However, not everything seems to go to plan in terms of Formula 1. In terms of when we especially make predictions, something always tends to go wrong or right, depending on which side you are, if I'm honest with you. Me personally, I'm not really that bothered about the Mercedes dominance. As like I said, it's not boring for the sport, because would you rather see loads of overtakes and Mercedes win all the time? Or would you rather see no overtakes but Mercedes don't win all the time? You know, like, you want to see exciting race, and that's what you're there for. You're not really there to see who wins. If you are a true fan of Formula 1, you don't really see who wins. You just come to see what happens, really, because you like close racing, you like action, you like crashes, you like whatever. So I think for me personally, I'm not bothered about Mercedes dominance. As like I said in Why is F1 Boring episode, I'm just basically saying it's the cars themselves that make the sport kind of boring in some sense. And I'm not saying the sport is boring in general. I'm just saying that the cars could be better to make, exciting racing and stuff, and obviously the rules and regulations play into place as well. So there's loads of things you have to discuss. But anyways, I'm getting off topic a bit. So yes, Hamilton for me, race win without a shadow of a doubt. So my top 3 is Charles Leclerc, Valtteri Bottas, and Lewis Hamilton. As I said, leave your predictions in the comment section below. So that's my predictions over with. Let's hand over to Lyle and see what he has to say on give his predictions, his top 3 for the 2019 Canadian Grand Prix.
So yes, my predictions for the 2019 Canadian Grand Prix, and I'm going to kick this off by saying that in 3rd place, I'm going to go for the Finnish driver of Valtteri Bottas. Now, Valtteri Bottas, great start to the season, obviously kicked it off with an amazing win in Albert Park, the first round in Australia. He's been very consistent since then. Now, Monaco was a bit of a strange race for him. Again, he wasn't really in the contenders. He wasn't really in the ring much with the top 3 guys. He was really falling behind Sebastian Vettel in 4th place. He was promoted to 3rd place after Max Verstappen got his penalty, getting on the podium, which was really good. It now then he was already going to do that anyway with Max, but it then halted Mercedes 1-2 dominance. That was really good from them. Again, that was, Max did that, so well done to him. He halted Mercedes dominance, which was incredible. Mercedes still won the race in Lewis Hamilton, again, as we said in the preview show, and as I said in the experience video. It was just great to see that, for Niki Lauda to take that victory was really, really good. Again, Lewis Hamilton extends his lead in the World Championship, and an extra 10 points over his teammate Valtteri Bottas was definitely needed. But again, enough about Lewis, to just talk about him quickly. Valtteri Bottas, yes, I think it'll be a good race for him. Mercedes are bringing some big upgrades to the race. I was talking to Jordan the other day, and he told me that it was expected to be over 1,000 horsepower more in the car. Now, they don't need that at all. They don't even need 1 horsepower. They need less horsepower. But yes, it is going to be fantastic for them to do that, to bring all these upgrades. And again, an unstoppable train at the moment will just now become even more unstoppable when they do bring those upgrades in Canada. So yes, Valtteri Bottas will be very, very strong. The Finnish driver had some great look around here in the past, but again, he's never really been on the button. Lewis Hamilton has been the better of the two Mercedes. Again, I know Nico Rosberg has struggled around here before. Obviously, I know he's not a Nico Rosberg, but still, Lewis Hamilton is normally the better out of the two Mercedes drivers. And yes, I think Valtteri Bottas, it will be a good race for him. I'm thinking that he will get a good position. I'm hoping that he'll climb a few. But yes, I think third place will be a good. It will be very good for him in a very highly contested Canadian Grand Prix. In second place, I'm going to go for Max Verstappen, the Red Bull driver, who was going to finish in second place in Monaco and did an amazing race. My driver, I think our driver of the day overall in Monaco, a great race from him. After he ran into, after he had a problem in the pit lane, which I did get on camera, so that was probably the highlight of going there. He was demoted to fourth place. He got a 5-second grid penalty, 5-second time penalty even, that was added to his time at the end. It was not very good to see. That was really not great for that, but again, it just added more spice into Max as he wanted to catch Lewis and hopefully move up the ranks and, he wouldn't have won the race, but it wouldn't have meant that he would have, slipped off the podium positions. I did think he did a really good race. I would say in Monaco, really, really good. Sticking with Lewis Hamilton and closing that gap. He had a good few chances as well. He was very, very close. It was really good to just watch him, edge closer and hopefully take Lewis Hamilton. The last race I was actually at, which was Singapore last year. Again, it was Lewis and Max was catching Lewis. So again, it was really good to see that. To give Max some support was really, really good. He was really definitely deserved that. I don't think he won the F1's driver of the day, but he was definitely, as I say, a very hot contender. And he was, what we thought he was, the best driver. In Monaco, great race from him. He really managed that Red Bull really, really strong. He loves these street circuits. Obviously, Gilles Villeneuve is a purpose-built circuit, but it is around Montreal, so it is classed as a street circuit. I'm hoping that he will have a good race here. The Red Bulls have done well here. Daniel Ricciardo got his first win here. His first win, one of three in the 2014 season in that in the newly V6 Red Bull car, obviously over Sebastian Vettel, so that was really special from him. Also Max Verstappen, I think it was 2017, he was leading the race, really strong from them. That's when Red Bull had all their engine problems, and yes, Max Verstappen did a really great start. I think he leapfrogged Nico and Lewis at the start, incredible from him. And then about 6 laps goes by and he pulls over about corner 3 with engine problems. Really, really unfortunate. I think every time I think of Max in 2017, that comes to mind. Not that I want to, but yes. So again, that'll be redemption for that, and really special for them to get a second place. Now, why am I saying second place? And that's so great. It's because first place is just not going to be catched at all this weekend, and that obviously is Lewis Hamilton, the guy who, as I said at the start, he is going for number 7. Mercedes have won 6 at the moment. Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas have shared 6. Lewis Hamilton is leading the World Championship. It's round 7, and Lewis could make it 7, and very much so he's going to make it 7. He absolutely loves this track. It is a really special home to him. As I say, getting your maiden win is just really special. I think it's just cemented himself around that circuit. And the Mercedes car does really well. It's really good on his tyres. It has a great mix, the Canadian Grand Prix. I didn't actually used to like it as a circuit, but I do really like it now because it's got a great mix of modern and old-style kind of Formula 1 quirks on the track. And me and John, I know we've been talking about, old versus new Formula 1 tracks, and we're going to make that an episode very soon, so stay tuned for that. But yes, I do like the Canadian Grand Prix circuit now, and it really, really suits the Mercedes. They've done really well through here. In the past, since they've been going here, obviously since Lewis Hamilton took his maiden win, with McLaren in 2007, and then he's been winning with Mercedes, a really special from that. I think it was 2014, his first win with Mercedes here. So yes, Lewis Hamilton will be the victor. Max Verstappen in second place, a good race from him. Red Bull Racing will be very, very strong. They could even be challenging for second place in the Constructors' Championship, I think, if everything goes well. On Pierre Gasly as well, because I'm more of a Red Bull fan than a Verstappen fan, but Red Bull doing a very good job. Pierre Gasly had a great points finish. He also got the fastest lap. You remember he got the fastest lap in China as well. Very, very strong from him. I do think that he will be improving all the way through the season. And yes, it's just keep a stepping stone. And we have the Canadian Grand Prix. If he does a good race here, then you never know. We could head into round 8, which is the French Grand Prix at Paul Ricard, his home race. A race that, yes, he did crash out of last year, if you remember. I think all the French drivers crashed out on the first lap. Very unfortunate. So yes, if he does a good race here, you never know, he could have a good race at the French Grand Prix home race. But yeah, I do think it'll be a good race. Again, French, obviously Quebec is a French-speaking Canadian province, so it's maybe kind of like his home race. I don't know if he classes it like that. I don't think that's how it works. Otherwise, our Australian, American, Canadian, they'd all be our home races. But yes, it'll be a special race for them. Anyways, and again, I've just said Red Bull really likes it, with Sebastian Vettel winning here in the old V8 Red Bulls, obviously when he was winning the World Championship. Daniel Ricciardo's first win here as well, very, very special. They've still yet to have a win since then, but it will be what Red Bull will definitely be gunning for. So yes, that is my podium: Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen, and Valtteri Bottas. Again, Max Verstappen breaks up the Mercedes train, breaks up the Mercedes 1-2. Really, it's redemption from what should have happened in Monaco. But again, that wasn't anybody's fault. If anything, that was Red Bull's fault for the early release. We're not going to discuss that now, but yes, we have made episodes before, and there has been a big discussion before about who should be penalised when it comes to team things like that, strategies, replacing things like that, tyres, and of course pit stops, because when the green light goes, he puts the car in first and he is off. It's not like he's going to wait and look around his mirrors. I don't think any driver has ever done that, ever, in the history of anything. But yes, that's enough about Monaco. Yes, Canada, yes, Lewis, Max, and Valtteri. So that is my top three for the Canadian Grand Prix. Pole position, again, Lewis Hamilton. Nothing can be said about that. Fastest lap in the race, I'm gonna chuck a curveball out, and I'm gonna say it's gonna be Sebastian Vettel of Ferrari who will get the extra point. Now, let's say he finishes 4th or 5th. Again, Charles Leclerc is there, but I remember we did a video on Charles Leclerc really slipping away. It's actually funny to mention though that in 2017 we made McLaren. I think we mentioned them about 20 times before the halfway stage. I think we're doing exactly the same with Ferrari. So Sebastian Vettel, let's say he gets the fastest lap. Ferrari, they're not really a team to watch this weekend. I don't know, it's kind of slipping away from them because we've talked about them so much. But it is just, I don't even want to say it now. It never really was Ferrari because we talk about them so much now. I don't even know what they can do anymore. It's just, there's nothing they can do anymore. Just put your head down and keep having a good race. As I just said there, Sebastian Vettel had a really, really good race this time last year, and quite a thrilling Canadian Grand Prix. I did enjoy watching it last year, so it was really, really good. He halted Lewis Hamilton, as I say, going for number 7 last year, so that was really, really good from him. So Ferrari, a good team, but I'm just going to mention a quick few people that I really want to look at. Now, the first person I want to look at, or the first team that I want to look at, is Racing Point. Now, Lance Stroll, he is a home driver. Now, he had a lot of controversy around, whether he should be in Formula 1 with his money or anything like that. Again, he hadn't really been what. He'd had some so-so finishes. He had been sneaking in the top 10, but really nothing special at all. But I do think that he's a driver to watch, or definitely a team to watch. Now, Sergio Perez, on the other hand, very strong from him. Really, really good. 2012 was one of his best seasons. I think he had a very good finish here. I want to say he was on the podium, but I'm not sure. But yes, very strong from him. I do think that he will have a very good race, again in front of the home crowd. I think Racing Point are a Canadian team. That's right, Lawrence Stroll does own the team, so they might be Canadian. So let's say if they do win, the Canadian national anthem does play. Or nevertheless, obviously it will be a big race for them. As I say, Lance Stroll is Canadian, so yes, they will be a good team to watch. Romain Grosjean, now he had a points finish out in Monaco, really low down. I think it's 2 points he stands in the World Championship. Now, he did get a podium here in 2012 in the Lotus Renault. Really, really special from him in a season that was very, very, very up and down for the Lotus driver. Now, again, after his podium here, I do think that he will have a strong race here. Not just because of the results that he's had, but the two Haas drivers really need a good finish. Now, Haas, I don't know what's been going on with them, but they really, really need to just improve in that car. They have a Ferrari engine, should be quite consistent as well. Two good, consistent drivers. They've been in Formula 1 for a good few years now. I'm hoping that they will have at least a top 10 finish. Haas based out of North Carolina. I think geographically it's actually closer than Austin, so this is more like a home race to them. So yes, if you think about that, yes, make a good race, Haas, and yes, I hope they have a very good race on Sunday. Also McLaren, I think that's probably the last thing to mention. Lando Norris, obviously a really, really good guy to watch, British driver, had a really good finish. Monaco, it wasn't really a race to remember for him, but in the World Championship, he is still there, he is still contended, and again, McLaren in the Constructors' World Championship, a very, very, very strong 4th place for them is incredible. So again, they could do some really big damage drivers from then. McLaren have had a big history with Canada again. As I said, Lewis Hamilton taking his maiden win in 2007 in that McLaren. Jenson Button taking his the victory, as I say, in the almost 5-hour 2011 Canadian Grand Prix. To have a big history here again in the last few years with Fernando Alonso in that. They don't want to remember that, so let's make it right. Let's hope for a good position there. And I'm going to even say that McLaren, Lando could get a strong 6th place, or Carlos could get a strong 6th place. It's all to play for McLaren. Definitely a team with no pressure, not really on the offensive, but they can cruise to some good finishes at the moment. I'm really loving what I'm seeing from McLaren. Definitely one of probably my team of the season at this time. Again, me and John will be giving out, when we do our summer break, review, we'll be obviously talking about our teams, our drivers of the first part of the season. I've got to say, straight out of the gun, McLaren is a team that is going to be very, very high up there for me. I'm absolutely loving what I'm seeing. But yes, the top 3 is obviously Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen, and Valtteri Bottas. Lewis Hamilton goes for 7, matches Michael Schumacher's record around Canada, and yes, it will be a good race for the British driver on his road to 6. So yes, that is my predictions for the Canadian Grand Prix. Obviously, make sure to like, to leave a comment about what you agree with. If you agree with my predictions, what do you think? Let me know your predictions. Also, what do you think of Jordan's predictions as well? Leave them down in the comment section below. And again, leave your predictions, top 3, top 10, or the whole 20 drivers. Let me know, and also what you think about the Canadian Grand Prix. So obviously, thanks for watching my segment. And yes, back to the studio. Thank you, Jordan.
So now it's time for the ones to watch, where we pretty much give our thoughts and opinions, and maybe drivers who could shine this weekend, judged by recent form or of a particular Grand Prix or whatever. And this weekend, of course, blatantly obvious, is this weekend is the Canadian Grand Prix, as I've already said now, as you already know by now. So all the attention is going to be on homeboy Lance Stroll. Lance Stroll is a driver that we've never really spoke to. We're not friends with him, of course. A driver that we haven't really spoke about this season, especially bearing in mind that he's... I'm moving to race the point. It was quite controversial at the start. If you remember when Esteban Ocon got kicked out of the seat, demoted to the Mercedes reserve driver role, Lance Stroll came in, blatantly obvious why, because his dad owns the team. That's fair enough. Ruffled a few feathers, especially got our backs up as well, with us being Ocon fans. But since then, I've just kind of allowed the Stroll, given Stroll a chance, really. I'm not really a Stroll hater anymore. I used to be a Stroll hater, especially from the moment he first sat in a car till about the beginning of this season, where I'm really I'm not a Stroll hater anymore. I'm just kind of he's a driver, so I'm just gonna let him be. So obviously, I'm gonna say Lance Stroll for a one to watch this weekend. It is his home race. He scored his very first Formula 1 points here back in 2017 with Williams. So expect a decent run-in, if you like, with it in a car that's pretty... It's average. Not as good as what they thought was going to be. If you remember, Force India had a really good end of the season last year. And then finished... I think they finished in 5th? 6th? Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. No, they didn't. Sorry, they finished 7th because of the demotion, of course. How did I forget that? Anyway, rookie error. So anyways. So Lance Stroll, yes. He's only scored two Hall of points this season. One in Australia, 9th place there, and 9th place in Azerbaijan. So, not the season he's really after. He's been out of Q1 at the past 10 races. Again, not good, but he's still really, really young, and I think people need to give him a chance. I didn't really give him a chance, and I'll admit that. I just slated him altogether because he was there for the money. And to be fair, money can't really buy talent, or he can't make you quick. It can get you there, but it's up to the person themselves to be able to deliver the results. If you're quick enough, then of course you should 110% be there, money or not. Lando Norris is there because of money. Apparently his dad's absolutely minted accordingly. So, but everyone's friends with him, so so I think Lance Stroll, we definitely want to watch. He could have a good result. He needs to score some points because again the critics are starting to get on his back. There's reports of Ocon taking his seat halfway through the season, next season. But for me personally, as I've always said, as long as his dad's there, Lance Stroll's going to be there. And the way Racing Point's going going at the moment, I can see them being a knocking at the door for top 3, maybe pushing ahead of Renault and getting there before them. You know, getting some podiums, regular race wins with the money that Lawrence Stroll is investing in the team. There's a report of a new headquarters being built at Silverstone. Apparently that the effect of the money won't be shortened until next season. So maybe we could be seeing a whole new Lance Stroll racing point. Now, if Lance Stroll, let's say Racing Point have a really good car next season to be able to compete with the top 3, and Lance Stroll doesn't deliver, and let's say his teammate, whoever that will be, let's say Sergio Perez does, then I'm sure we can't officially start criticising Lance Stroll. But at this moment in time, let's not do that. All right, you can call him what you like, and obviously everyone is entitled to their own opinion. So obviously don't go on my back because I'm saying I'm not really defending Lance Stroll, but I'm not really with Lance Stroll, if you know what I mean. I'm on the fence with him. I can see why people don't like him, but at the same time, I can see why people do like him. You know, he's got a lot of talent. Don't get me wrong, he does have talent. He can do quite a bit with Formula 1, so let's see how that one goes. So yes, one of my drivers to watch is Lando Norris. The other driver to watch is one from my team, which I am now wearing the 2019 McLaren Renault top, first one I bought this season. I'm looking to get another top. I want it in particular, but I can't bloody get it. It keeps saying out of stock, but I really want it badly. Anyways, getting sidetracked again. So the other driver I'm going to be talking about is Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz had a very difficult start to life at McLaren. He had that retirement in Australia. Then he didn't score any points for the next 2 races. But for the past 3 races, however, he's been in the points and he's currently sitting in 7th place, best of the rest so far in terms of the midfield teams. So that is impressive for Carlos Sainz, a driver who's got a lot of talent. You know, he's future world champion potentially. You know, if he gets that right chance at once upon a time. If McLaren do get back to where they were, you know, maybe. But I'm not going to jump the gun just yet. I think for me, Carlos Sainz is a very good driver. You know, he should he be in that Red Bull seat? Possibly. I think, you know, Carlos Sainz got a bit unlucky not getting that seat. Maybe he's selected ahead of Gasly or, you know, anything like that, or even Danny Kvyat. You know, Carlos Sainz, he's a good driver to be fair, but he's at McLaren now, and I'm more than happy with that. So yes, he's on currently a 3-point scoring winning streak, and I think the only drivers that have scored points in the last 3 races are Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen, and Vettel. I think they're the only drivers that have scored points, apart from Sainz, in the last 3 races. So he's on par with the big boys, which that's pretty good. That's pretty encouraging to take into the weekend. So I think he's going to be in for a good result. I hope both McLarens are in for a good result, because Norris is slipping off the radar a bit. Had a good start this season. He's off a bit of a wobbly patch, but I've got every faith in Lando Norris. I've got every faith in the McLaren boys. So they are definitely ones to watch this weekend. Another one to watch, Romain Grosjean. Actually, let's end with Romain Grosjean. You know, he scored. He didn't score any points in the first 4 races. The past 2 races in Spain and Monaco, he's finished in P10, 2 points. All right, he's in 17th place in the standings. But it's progress, at least. You know, a lot of people are on his case already about a potential being demoted in the team, being kicked out for next season. Excuse me, and all that. And I do believe that Grosjean does need to improve his results in fast, if he wants to, stay in the sport. Because for me, I think Haas will have one eye on Fittipaldi and one eye on Schumacher. And for me, I think they'll keep K-Mag, but without a doubt, they do want to move forward. And if Grosjean's going to be that guy that's not going to score the points, then definitely they will remove him. And as I said, they'll have one eye on Fittipaldi for the future, and again one eye on Mick Schumacher with that Ferrari kind of deal or anything like that. But I think Romain Grosjean will have a good weekend. I hope so anyway. I do like Grosjean, and it is a 150th Grand Prix weekend. I forgot to mention that as well. Yes, so I'm pleased to mention that one actually. Yes, so it's his 150th Grand Prix. No race wins. I think he's had about 7 podiums, I believe. That's just off the top of my head. Yeah, you know, his Formula 1 career has been up and down. He had that brief stint in 2009 with Renault. Then he left for 2 seasons, came back with Lotus Renault kind of partnership. 2012 was a solid year, but he did make some really silly mistakes. 2013, he matured ever so more. 2014, they had a really bad car. But since he's been with Haas, he hasn't done too bad. Just I think this season he needs to kick on a bit more. Last season he had a bad start. He's had another bad start this season. He needs to get some results in fast because, like I said, Haas will be looking to replace him. May replace both drivers, but let's wait. Let's just keep that for a prediction video. But anyways, guys, this is where I'm going to wrap up my preview of the Canadian Grand Prix. Thank you very much for watching. If you're new around here, then please like and subscribe as well. We did hit our target of 550 subscribers. When as I'm recording this, we're on 557. We might have gone up, we might have gone down. But at this moment in time, we're on 557. Thank you very, very much. I'm going to set a new target of 600 subscribers by the British Grand Prix. Our original target was 550 before the British Grand Prix. We've done that, smashed it actually, and now it's going to be. I'm going to set the bar just a tad higher at 600. I did used to say 1,000 subscribers, but I was being a bit ambitious. So I'm just going to get rid of that one altogether. So 600 subscribers by the British Grand Prix. If you do like what you see, please like and subscribe as well. Comment down below your predictions for the weekend. Ones to watch. Who do you think will have a good weekend? Do you agree with my predictions? Do you agree with Lau's predictions? Do you agree with what I've said about the drivers in terms of one to watch? Carlos Sainz, Lance Stroll, Romain Grosjean. Anyone you want to mention, please let us know in the comment section below, and we shall reply. But I love talking to you guys. Always happy to interact with you. And yes, so anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later. Oh, before I go, sorry, I do apologise. I forgot to mention that. Catch our F1 debate show on Saturday, and catch our race review with Lyle. His first review back for a couple of races now. His review will be there for the Canadian Grand Prix straight after the Grand Prix, probably about an hour after the race. But yes, that's all I've got to say. Watch the debate show on Saturday if you don't mind, and watch the review on Sunday. So yeah, see you.